I'm with Ken Nettler, who's owner of Intercomp and a former board member of NFRC. Ken, if I'm a building inspector, what does NFRC mean to me, and why do I need to know about these guys?
Well, thanks, Steve. NFRC stands for the National Fenestration Rating Council. It's an international coalition of manufacturers, researchers, government, and laboratories that got together about 10 years ago to establish a fair, accurate, and credible rating system for the energy performance of windows. It turns out that many of the technologies we rely on in better windows, things like the better glass and even to some extent the frame, pretty hard to tell just by simple inspection. If you didn't have a label, you'd have a real hard time telling what the performance is.
And this label is an independent label, so it's not like the manufacturer's dreaming these numbers up. This is a credible
That's
source.
right. It's a uniform rating system. It lets you compare apples to apples as you go from brand to brand and get a pretty good idea of the product performance. One unique thing about the NFRC rating system is that it does include the entire product performance, not only what type of operator, is it a slider versus a fixed window, but also things like you see in this window, the grids, what frame material, how thick the frame material, all those factors are included in the NFRC ratings.
So, for example, when I'm looking at the solar heat gain coefficient of this window, if it has grids in it, that number is going to be lower than the same window with the same glass without the grids, because this is a total product number.
That's right.
Now, in addition to the NFRC label, we also have the Energy Star, but I think it makes be worthwhile to spend some time just explaining what are the numbers on this label.
Okay, well, NFRC at this point in time actually has 4 different ratings that it can put on a window label. The 2 most important ones that we need to talk about are these first 2 numbers. There's the U factor, which is a rating that gives you an indication of it's the inverse of the R value, so basically a house or a window that has a lower U factor means it has a higher insulation value. It's most commonly used when people think in terms of wintertime performance. You want a low U factor product if you're in a cold climate.
And that's also for the frame, the glass, the
right,
size.
It's the whole product performance, including all aspects of the window. The second rating that is very critical, especially in climates that have cooling, is the solar heat gain coefficient. This is a bit of a newer number. People may not be quite as familiar with it. Solar heat gain coefficient is pretty easy to understand. If you pictured having a window with direct sunlight on it, it's the percentage of the sun's heat that makes it through the window product. So if you had a window that had a 0.5 solar heat gain coefficient, that means that it's knocking out or blocking half of the solar heat gain from coming through the window product.
And the last thing is the visible light transmission, which is really important because people want to see out of your windows.
That's right. Designing products that don't allow daylight in a window product seems kind of counterproductive to me. And so the ideal product would have a low U factor, a low solar heat gain, and a high visible light. So you knock out the heat flow, you reduce the solar heat gain, and you let as much daylight in so that people can enjoy their indoor environments.
So the U factor again is basically just more of a little bit more of a wintertime performance, and the lower number is better. The solar heat gain coefficient is just the percentage of heat from the sun that gets to the glass, and that primarily dictates what our summer performance is going to be. And of course, visible light transmission. It's important to remember, I guess, that that is for the entire frame, glass, grids, everything as well.
Right.
Now, the Energy Star label is pretty important.
Yeah, the Energy Star label is I'm sure most people are familiar with this logo. It's a voluntary program, it's a marketing program that tries to encourage consumers that when they're in position to purchase a product that they want to choose the one with the Energy Star label. It's going to be a product that is more energy efficient, that causes less pollution, and over the life of the product the hope is that it will actually save the consumers money. Now in window products what we do is the Energy Star criteria depends a little bit on the climate zone. Obviously, what's a good window for San Diego might not be the right window for Lake Tahoe. So there are different criteria depending on the climate a little bit. But in general, they rely on NFRC ratings, the U factor and the solar heat gain, depending on the region you are in the country, to establish what a good window is in different climate areas.
So the Energy Star label basically utilizes the information generated from the NFRC label to make sure that these windows are properly evaluated.
You can't get an Energy Star label without having an NFRC label as well.
Well, Ken, thanks a lot. It's great information. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.